What's going on, everyone? So, the San Antonio Spurs have made a free agency signing in the way of Malachi Flynn. So, per Shams, free agent guard Malachi Flynn has agreed on a one-year deal with the San Antonio Spurs, sources tell The Athletic and at Stadium. Flynn, who had a career-high 50 points in April, averaged 8 points in 14 minutes per game for the Detroit Pistons last season. Now, Flynn is definitely a vacuum scorer, right? He's a guy that off the bench can just go get you buckets. When he is on and he's cooking, he is fun to watch. He even had, I think it was like 73, something like that, in a pro-am game, right? This dude is a absolute bucket getter. He's listed as a point guard, but he is really a shooting guard. He is. He's not like a point guard in traditional sense. He's kind of an undersized two guard that you want. Just, again, off the bench, give him the green light, let him go cook if he's able to light it up. He doesn't have to play heavy minutes, but in the minutes that he plays, he's a guy, as you saw, 14 minutes, go get you 8 points, right? Like, to have a guy like that in a limited role that's just somebody you can bring in and cook off the bench can go a long way. So he, in the 4 seasons in which he's played, he's been on the Raptors, the Knicks, and the Pistons. His best season was, scoring-wise, was last season. This is a guy, 52.8% from two-point range, EFG of 50%. Three-point range last year, though, was a problem at 31.6%. His best three-point percentage was 35, technically with Toronto at 35.3. He had another season in which he had 35% flat from three-point range, but it's all been limited, right? Like, this is a guy that is only taking like 2 or 3 threes a game. And even shot attempts period, he's only averaging about 7 attempts per game, and more than half are from 3-point or from 2-point range. So this is a guy that, again, is kind of just like, give him the ball, let him go crazy for a few minutes, and generate some buckets. I don't think that this is a guy that's going to, be necessarily a huge rotation piece. Even a development piece, because he's not, like, if he was like 23, sure, but he's not. He's 26. Now, that's not old by any stretch of the imagination, right? Like, that's still young, even by NBA standards. But, that usually by 26, a guy's like a year or so away from getting into his prime and being the best version of himself. Is he going to like, how much better can he get is the question. Again, is he ever going to be more than just like a vacuum scorer off the bench? I don't think so. I think that more likely than not, you're looking for him to just, again, throw him out there a couple minutes, let him go get you 8 points in 10 minutes, and then that's it. Just kind of in a nutshell, here you go. I do think that, if he can improve his three-point shooting, because the Spurs could use some three-point shooting. They could use a guy that knock down 2 or 3 threes a game. Again, slot him alongside Chris Paul and just let Chris generate a bunch of like wide open looks for Flynn. I think that could be a real possibility. But, it's just, where does he play given all the guards on the Spurs, right? Because, you have Castle, who the Spurs are supposed to be trying to develop into the point guard of the future. You have, obviously, Chris Paul. You have, Devin Vassell. Kellin Johnson's more of a 3, but, he's kind of your vacuum scorer off the bench. You have Trey Jones, right? Like, it's just, where do they squeeze Flynn in, right? Or is he just kind of like to round out the roster? It's like, he's a cheap guy. We can, one of our guys are missing one night. We can look to potentially throw him out there for a few minutes, or you just get him some minutes here and there. But again, I don't know where you kind of find his fit at the point or the 2 guard, right? I mean, you also have Blake Wesley, right? He's another guy. You have, again, like, you look at guys like Branham, he's more of a 3, but they all kind of could give you potentially what you'd be looking for from Malachi Flynn, right? Just trying to think off the top of my head, the kind of roster and players in which, like, who is he playing over? Who would you want him to play over? Right now, this, again, more likely than not, is probably just to, fill out the roster type move, right? Bring in a guy that in a pinch can just go get you a bucket. Right? And again, with those nights that he's feeling it and he's on, just let him cook, right? Just let him go out there and just go get a bucket. I don't hate the signing, right? I think it's a solid signing, but I don't think it's anything to write home about, and two, I don't even know how much opportunity he actually gets and how many minutes does he actually play. Is this one of those things where he doesn't really care, he just wants to be on an NBA roster, or did the Spurs kind of tell him, like, hey, we'll find places for you, we'll find spots and minutes for you as that scorer? It also kind of makes me wonder, does this mean Kellin Johnson is on his way out? Right now, again, obviously Kellin Johnson is, more of a small forward, and he's bigger, but he is that vacuum scorer, go get you a bucket off the bench type guy, right? He is basically what you would be looking for Flynn to do off the bench already. So it's like, is this insurance for trading Kellin Johnson, to where it's like, now, if we get the right piece or we make a move, right? Do you throw Flynn out there and now he's kind of your vacuum scorer? No, you're giving him, again, 15, 20 minutes and he's giving you 12 points or whatever in 20 minutes of action, right? Is he more willing to kind of accept and kind of buy into that role as just like the vacuum scorer? Yeah, he's not as big, so you can't, like with Johnson, you can kind of play him out there with, a Castle and a CP or whatever, where, it's just, but even then you can move Vassell to the 3 at times if you needed to, or some of these other guys. Like, it's just something that popped in my head when they brought in Flynn. It was like, really? Like, so, like, isn't he kind of just like, Kellin Johnson? I'd rather have Kellin Johnson. I'm not saying that Flynn is better or comparable, and I'm talking about, like, just being that scorer off the bench, just being that bucket getter. Right? Kellin Johnson's the guy that you bring in right now, and you just let him go get you, 16 a game, whatever. Right? Do they try to get Flynn into that role and have him kind of be that, just like, hey, can you get us 15 a night as just a bucket getter, right? Or do they keep Keldon and they kind of do both? I don't know. It's very interesting. But again, I don't necessarily think that this is like anything more than just kind of a filling out the roster signing, right? I mean, they already have plenty of young talent. They already have plenty of things. So it's like, why not take a flyer on Malachi Flynn and just see, like, hey, maybe he gives you a 50 piece or two during the season. And it's like, oh man, you probably win those games, right? So, it could be beneficial, right? Could be a guy, if he works out well and plays his role and buys in, like, you may be able to get some quality production out of him. But I don't think it's anything where it's like, oh man, so glad that that the Spurs picked up Flynn, right? Oh man, this was the move of the year type thing. I don't think it's anything like that. But I do think it's very, very interesting. Very interesting that this got picked up. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Hey, Phil, what are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of bringing in Malachi Flynn? Do you think, no, stay away from him? He's not, they shouldn't have done that. You could have used that 1-year deal elsewhere on another guy. Are you fine with that? Do you think that this could potentially lead? Do you think that this could potentially lead to Kellin Johnson being traded? And maybe this is insurance for Kellin Johnson as, like, just that vacuum scorer off the bench, just that guy that can just go get you a bucket, right? Just go get you, 15 plus on any given night. Anytime you get a guy that gives you 8 points in 14 minutes is not bad, right? Especially off the bench in a limited role, limited minutes. Now, every team wants that guy. Every team wants a a guy that's just coming in and just dropping, being productive in the minutes that he gets. And this is a guy that can definitely give you that production. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.